Okay, so I am recording video just so you guys know. This is for our fall 2017 typography class. YouTubers who watch my channel, please understand this is a live class. This is not a professional video. All right, so we are in our modules for week 2, which is module 2, and we are going to the typographic exercise 2, type arrangements, and we are downloading the exercise 2 zip file. I'm right-clicking it and going to save link as, and for me I'm just taking it to my desktop, but if you have a flash drive, you can expand this window if you'd like and find your flash drive, and if you are organized and have a typography folder, that would be good, then you'll save this. Now I've already got it on there, that's why it's calling it, it has parentheses in the one, so you would normally hit save. There is a little online resource here from the book, and basically the Designing with Type has a companion website, and it does go into this particular project. It talks about a couple of things to avoid when working with this project. So if I go to the type arrangements, which looks like it's already there, it talks about a justified setting. Justified settings are flush left and flush right, meaning they align. And again, this was a link right here in our assignment. Oh, and by the way, too, we're learning that this Ivy Learn stuff can be a little glitchy. If you don't see on your computer at home the assignments in Module 2, you can go to Grades and, whoops, nope, hold on. That was not what I want to do. I need to go to Student View. Pardon me just for a moment. I'll go to Student View so we can see what it looks like. But some people click on assignments and can't find them, and they'll go to modules and they can't find them. Let me get to the Student View so I can have mine look like yours. And if I were to go to Grades, you can see that the Typographic Exercise 2 type arrangements is here, and you can click on that, and then you still can't see the verbiage or the download stuff or the link, but when you hit Submit Assignment, you can now see it. You just scroll up. We wouldn't submit the assignment right now. We would just merely look at this for informational purposes. I don't know if it's a Google Chrome problem or what, but you could try to use Safari or Firefox or something if you can't see what's in the modules. I had students who were like, I swear last week we got it in class, we saw it, and then when we went home it was nowhere to be found, and it had been published. So just keep that in mind. If you're having a hard time finding the assignments, you can go to Grades and click on that assignment, hit Submit Assignment to actually be able to read it. You'll have to scroll up, and that will have any links or any attachments or videos there. Okay? It's something glitchy in Ivy Learn. But back to this link for just a moment. So this is linked to the type arrangements topic in the book companion website. And it shows that there are some design concerns when working with justified type. And those design concerns are lines of type with really tight words or letter spacing. That's not good. Lines of type with really wide word spacing. So the space between the words, this is the space between letters. And then there are sometimes lines of type that have both poor word spacing and poor letter spacing. These are things we want to avoid. And then lastly, the thing that we need to avoid are widows. This is a widow. It's an excessively short line of type at the end of a paragraph. And we say this in the industry, kill your widows. And your orphans. Yeah, orphans are excessively short lines on a different column or a different page. They're worse. It's worse to be a widow than an orphan if you think about the emotional impact, perhaps. I don't know. An improved setting would look like this. We don't have widows. We don't have excessively wide letter spacing or word spacing or a combination of the two. Okay? Now, this may throw you guys off a little bit here. This is from page 108. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing here. I'm looking at my book at page 108. I do not have you set. Oh, yeah, I do. I don't have you set Garamond exactly like this. A 10 by 10 document would cause us to have to print to larger paper, which is because an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper, well, the 10 inches tall can fit to the 11 just fine. There's excess room. But 10 inches wide will drop right off the edge of an 8.5 wide paper. So in a 10 by 10 document, we would have to print to 11 by 17 and then chop it down, cut it down. So I am not having you do a 10 by 10 document. Okay, so even though this says it here on the online resource, I do change some things time to time because I'm trying to save you guys money. It costs more to print 11 by 17 than it does 8.5 by 11. Okay. The copy for that is right here, but I've supplied that copy to you so you don't have to deal with that. But if for some reason you're like, I don't know where my copy is, it's here. Okay. So this is just kind of a thing for you guys to go, hey, what kind of things are they doing here? I want to see some examples and so on. Now, we're going to start this out in InDesign. And we are going to turn off facing pages because it's not a book. Okay? So I clicked on the New Document button, and I turned off facing pages. Instead of a letter-sized document, which we will be printing on a letter-sized piece of paper, but the document itself, let's make that 8 by 8. Now, the bad thing is when I do 8 and hit tab and put 8 again, what is this measure here? Picas. How big would that document be since that's picas? A pica is 1/6 of an inch. So 6 of them would be an inch. So this would be 1 inch plus 2 picas. That's a very tiny document, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So cute. That's Barbie size. So what we can do is we can type in 8 space IN. You actually don't have to put the space, but I'm a grammar queen, so if you don't want to put the space in, it understands that too. 48 inches, because 8 inches times 6 picas per inch is 48 picas. Yay.
And then orientation upright.
Well, it's square. A square page is neither portrait or landscape because it's square. I'm going to look at this example here. What does all this mean? They would like a 2.5 inch space. It's not necessarily a margin because this Garamond title, they're saying 2.5 inches from the top of the page to the baseline of Garamond. Well, we typically have type falling inside the margin, not outside the margin. It does, however, have a 2-inch margin on the left. So I'm going to figure this out real quickly. I'm going to go back to InDesign. We know that the side margin on the left is 2 inches. I got to look at it again. I'm sorry. 2 inches.
So that would be 12, I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm going crazy here. No, thank you. There we go. So what we need to do is we could type in 2IN, and it understands that, and it is 12 picas. Yes. But are we sure that's the top and left and right margin? We're not sure yet. For now, I'm just going to let that hold. But you'll notice how it automatically set each of these margins to 12. The reason why it did that is because this chain is linked, and that means that these are already all going to be the same. If you want to set a variety of margin sizes, you just click on the chain, unlink it, and you can type in anything you want. So let's say I wanted a one inch bottom margin. It will not affect the other ones. Okay? Now, it doesn't bother me if you have a 1 inch or 2 inch bottom margin right now. I'm going to hit OK or click OK. I'm like, wow, that's kind of tiny. Now, I am going to quickly, I think we still have our fonts loaded from last time. These use the same exact fonts that we used in the typographic exercise number 1. So those should already be in our font management software, Font Agent. These are already loaded and ready to go. If they're not, then you will need to load them and activate them, which is in the first week's material for the class.
So if they're green, they're already ready to go.
If they're green, they're ready to go. Yes, exactly. Yep. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a type box with my type tool. And I'm just clicking and dragging. I'm going to type the word Garamond, excuse me. And I believe that it was 72 points, but let me check and make sure. Let me look in the book. Okay, well, in the book it doesn't even say to do a headline, but I'm just looking at their example here, so I'm thinking, well, we probably should go by their example just to try to save some confusion. So I'm going to do 72. Oh, it does. 72 B to B. Oh, what's that mean? 72 baseline to baseline. That means 72 set solid. Ooh, we learned something new. 72 B to B. We've heard of 72 points set solid. Set solid means it's the same point size for the type as it is for the leading. But B to B means baseline to baseline. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and copy this Garamond and hit return and paste Garamond again. And I need to tell it that this is Garamond because just like our political folks in Pakistan who were, the prime minister was unseated, they were unseated because they used a default font. The font on a Mac on this software that's default is Minion Pro. Okay, you want to change that to the proper typeface. And make sure you're using the open type version. And Adobe Garamond Pro is what we're using. So I'm going to use Adobe Garamond Pro regular. And that is, the point size is 72 for the type, and then the leading is also 72. And you will notice that your box is not too big, or is too small rather. No, I just clicked and dragged. And if it's too small, we can just, too small or too big, we can do the ting ting thing and make it smaller, kind of tighten it up. Now, one of these is supposed to be according to the sample provided in the online option. One of them is supposed to be all caps Garamond. So we want to make sure that the second Garamond is all caps, not holding down caps lock. No, no, no. You typeset upper lowercase and you use this big T, and then your box is too small. Now the only problem with this is because we're not using a 10-inch by 10-inch document, you see how crowded this is getting? So we may have to make some adjustments to this document.
I'm a little bit confused. After we make everything correct up in the little boxes and press, and now we have the two on top of each other. Yours are different looking than mine, but you just TT'd the second Garamond.
Yeah, I just made it all caps. Which is big T, big T.
They're in the same text box.
Yes,
right?
they are. Absolutely. If they were not in the same text box, we wouldn't know if we had the leading correct, you know, the space between the lines. There's no way to tell.
we have to use our little selection tool to change where the box is going.
Yeah. The black arrow tool, which is called the selection tool, is how we move the box around or how we increase the size of the box or decrease the size of the box.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to switch things up just a smidge here because you cannot have type going that close to the edge and have a layout look clean. So we're going to switch this up just a smidge because the 2-inch margin is too big now that we have an 8-inch by 8-inch document. Now that would have been great for 10-inch by 10-inch, but we can see that the proportions are not working here with a smaller scale document. How do we change the margins after we've already set them? That is the question. Now,
is the margin about where the text is in our box or about the page?
The margin is this pink line right here, pink and purple. We call them safety margins. It's usually a place that holds all where all the type is positioned inside. Mm-hmm. Sometimes headlines aren't, but almost all body copy is positioned within this pink box, which is sets the margins. Okay, so we're changing things up a little bit. So the example was a 10 by 10. This is an 8 by 8. I'm trying to save you guys money. So hopefully this won't be too confusing for you. I'm going to move this roughly where it would look kind of nice. That looks kind of nice as far as the space and the balance and that kind of thing. So I am going to examine how wide this margin should be. It looks like about a pica, which is 1 inch, instead of 2 inches because we changed the size of this. Now, to change margins on this page, we would go to Layout, Margins and Columns. It's the second item down on the menu for Layout. And for the top margin, just type in 6 picas or 1 inch, and then hit the little locking mechanism, the chain link, and it will make them all the same. And you may have to click on it a couple times. Then hit OK when you see something that looks like it's working out.
Hey, it looks nice.
Should look a lot nicer.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, that took a little time. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to create a new folder for this. You definitely want to keep your stuff organized. I would create a folder called Typography. And then, so I hit the new folder button. So everything for this class you can put in the folder called Typography. I'm going to open that folder, and I'm going to create another new folder, and I'm going to call it Exercise 2. So I hit Create.
How did you get to where you have this large one in the Save
If you click on the little arrow next to the Save As field, it will expand out.
Oh, okay.
And you can control where things are going a little bit easier. And as far as Untitled goes, nope, I'm going to call this Rebecca Exercise 2. And you would call it your name, Exercise 2. Okay, so that's the actual InDesign file name. It's going in a folder called Exercise 2. And I created a folder called Typography because if I don't do that, my stuff is just going to be all over the place. And you can see that clearly it is already. I need to clean some stuff up. File management is really critical. So you want to be organized. It's critical to your potential employer. Okay, so we just saved it to a safe place. Now we're going to place the body copy. This is File and Place. We are not copying and pasting from Word. Now, if we go to, oh, you know what? I got to find my exercise files for Exercise 2, so I probably should put that with my other ones. But let's see, this is page 108 and 109. Now I've got to find that. See, now not being organized is bad. Because now I'm like, where did I put that? I think it's still in my downloads. Where is is it? Oh, I can't remember. Life sucks. This is why we want to be organized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment to get organized because I'm really messing myself up.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a typography folder. Oh, there's my old exercise 1. I should put that in there. And here's my exercise 2 folder. I open it, and I'm going to take whatever thing I have for that, the files that we're working on, I'm going to put them in there. But I'm still looking for them. I'm like, where did they go? Oh, there it is, exercise 2. I've lost it. There it is. Exercise 2, I put those in there. I totally lost it. I was like, where is my stuff? Okay, so be organized because you get really blown away when you're not very organized.
Exercise 2, body copy file.
Yeah. Inside that exercise 2 folder that I've supplied to you, there will be body copy files, Baskerville, Bodoni, Century, Garamond, and Helvetica. And then there's fonts, which we already have those loaded from our last exercise, most likely. And these are also the same from our last exercise. I just supplied it just to make it easy. Okay, so now I want to place that text. Now I know exactly where I kept it. So File and Place, and it should be super easy to find. Because I'm going to go to my desktop, I'm going to go to my typography folder, I'm going to go to my exercise 2, open the exercise 2 that had the files in it, and I'm going to go get my body copy. Yep. Cambria, missing a font called Cambria. That's okay, I'm going to hit close because I'm not using Cambria anyway. And I am going to draw a text box. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm looking and it says that this needs to be 13 picas wide. Oh, okay. Guys, you could labor over this and sit there and watch the little width and height thing come up when you do this. 13. Oh my gosh, that's not very big. But that's, trying to be precise like that is pretty difficult. So instead of dragging a text box with your loaded cursor, you can drag a text box, don't worry about the size, but then go up in the width area on your control panel up here and just type in 13p and then hit the tab key. Tab key is kind of like enter.
So click the tab key?
Yeah, if your box is not 13 picas, it will tell you up here in the width. You have to select this with your black arrow tool, which is known as the selection tool. And up here in the control panel, up here, I'm trying to make my arrow big here. It does not say that it's 13 picas wide. The book is telling me on page 108 that this needs to be 13 picas wide. So I type in 13 and I hit the tab key. When I hit the tab key, it automatically sticks. Now, you can double click in that box with the selection tool, which is your black arrow. And then if you do like 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, it will grab the whole paragraph, or you can hit Command A, which is select all. If you're on a PC, it would be Control A. It selects all. Now, right now, this is Cambria. We don't want it to be Cambria. We want it to be Garamond. Now, you guys, this takes a long time to go from Cambria to Garamond. You know, dragging, it's horrible. Now, InDesign is nice that it puts the most recently used typefaces or fonts up to the top, so you could go this route. Or sometimes what I do is I just triple click or double click inside the name of the font and I start typing the name of the font in there. That is another way to do it. So we have 13 picas wide on this box. It is Garamond Pro. And the book tells us it needs to be 11, it's 11 over 15. What's that mean, 11 over 15?
Is it the 2 boxes up there?
It's these 2 boxes right here. Point size is the 11. and leading is a 15. Lovely. It also tells us that it needs to be justified. Justified is the setting of how it's going to align within its column. So we want to use the justified with the last line aligned left. We don't want it centered or anything. What else are we seeing here that we know better than to do? Hyphens. Ooh, that's the worst right there. Look at that. That's called a stacked hyphen. That's the Big Mac of hyphens. You definitely don't want stacked hyphens. So make sure when you go and check your text for hyphens that you turn that off. That's found in the control panel at the top. Make sure the text is selected, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so it has to be highlighted. Go to the backwards P and uncheck -8. Where's my hyphen? There we go. Yes. Question?
Yes. Your first line of text in that paragraph where the is, a, and classic, how they're all spaced out, mine is not doing that.
Okay. Get your selection tool, black arrow tool, click on that box, and double check to see if your width is 13 pica.
Heck to the no, it's not.
Well, that's why.
13. And then is the height supposed to be 20?
I'm not worried about the height.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because it doesn't mention anything about a height of the box. And you notice that mine's a little long. Normally I will pop that up. Say again?
It does identify that it's supposed to be 72 away from Garamond.
Oh, in the, let's take a look. Oh, yes. Oh, that sucks because I want to save you guys money. Going to 8x8 really makes this suck.
It still fits.
Oh, yeah. It's saying that it wants 72 points between the bottom baseline of the last Garamond to the top of or the baseline of the first line of this copy. Ugh. That's a lot. That's a lot of space there. So it wants us to pull this down and get 72 points between the baseline of Garamond up here and the baseline of the first line.
And how can you see that? 72 points. With a ruler?
Well, here's how I do it. You could do it ruler. You could go, okay, from here, I'm going to drag a ruler little line down to that baseline, and I'm going to measure from there. I am lazy, guys. I don't do it that way. Back when I was a newbie, I would have. What I do, I'm lazy. I zoom into the area. I get the rectangular tool. I just click right at the base of the A. The G doesn't count because it's got a curve, and it goes below the baseline. So I go to the bottom of the A. I click one time, and it wants 72 points. So I type in 72 PT, and I type in another 72 PT, and it will give me a box that's that big. And then I can just simply drag this little guy so the baseline lines up to the bottom of that box.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah, I love math. I really do. And I like pulling rulers down, guides when I need them. But this is so much quicker to me. It's just a lot quicker. So I do this kind of thing pretty regularly when I'm doing design work.
On that body, did you want to change those numbers as well?
Oh my goodness, yes. The question was, when you're dealing with your body copy, do the numbers matter? We know type matters on so many levels. Yes, we should go ahead and change these to what? What is it called? You guys remember? You guys remember where it is? It's on the control panel up here. I call it the Toucan Sam secret decoder button. That little fly out. Yeah, it's like a little hamburger button. That little fly out, you go to open type, and what is it called? Proportional old style. Bing, it did it. I'm going to do that to the second year that's in here, which is 15 rather. I'm going to make that proportional old style. Oh, look, and it rerouted that to the previous line. Nice. Yes. Okay. let me ask you this question. The thing was, when I go in there, it doesn't come up as an option. You're coming in here and everything's got brackets around it and it doesn't give you the option, right? Okay. My guess is if you go to the A or character control panel, you are using Garamond, not Adobe Garamond Pro. It does matter. Make sure you have the right font. Adobe Garamond Pro Regular. Adobe Garamond Pro. Proportional old style, yeah. Just for, well, you could select all the text and do that. It won't mess with the copy. It will only mess with numbers. Gee, that took a minute. I'm saving it. I'm saving. Now, normally, guys, we would want to work with a lot better proportion. I'm going to select the selection tool. I could hit the escape tool, which also gives me that. And I'm going to hit the W key, and this is the what you see is what you get key. This normally would be a no-no to have very little space underneath here as compared to the space up here. But we're going to go for it just because I'm trying to save you some money, okay? Normally, we would want aesthetics to be that the space under this would be slightly larger than the space above that, just slightly. It's called optical centering, optical balance. Yes.
Can you show us your margin lines one more time?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We are, and when I go to print this, you know what it's also going to do? It's going to give me a warning that says your text is outside. Let me tell you what that warning is. I'm just going to hit print. It's going to give me a warning. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, I'm lying. It didn't give me a warning. But usually what it does is it tells you that your text is an outset or something. That means there's some text that went past the margin line. So you may get a warning. You just hit OK. Okay. Now, it tells us in the book we're going to do flush. Okay, stop. Hold on. No. It tells us that the next setting is going to be flush left, ragged right, 11/13, Baskerville. Okay, oh my, Baskerville. Now, we could do what Dan did last week and duplicate the page, right? It's got the same measures. So we could take this page and drag it to the little page icon in the Pages panel. That's one way of doing it. Page 2 is identical to page 1. It's one way of doing it. Another way to do it is you can right-click on the page and go to Duplicate Spread. It's in essence the same thing, just a different method, okay? So page 2 is going to be Baskerville. Now I'm going to go ahead and select all the Garamond copy first because I don't want to type I'm lazy. I don't want to type Baskerville in. I'm just going to copy and paste it from the body copy. So I'm selecting all the body copy. I'm deleting it. And I'm going to File and Place, which is Command D or Control D on a PC, if you're using a PC. I'm going to go get the Baskerville text. If I double click, it will automatically load it into this box after I tell it I don't mind this missing font. And it's pink because that font is missing. So this typeface needs to be Baskerville. So I'm going to find Baskerville. I've highlighted or highlighted the font name. I'm starting to type in B-A-S-K. Now, there's a lot of different Baskervilles here, but you guys want to choose the one that has the O, and it also has the STD. This would be Baskerville Cyrillic. LT stands for linotype. ST stands for standard. And upright. It tells us in the book that this needs to be 11-point type, 13-point leading. Oh my gosh, 13's not in there in my drop down. I can simply double click on it and type in 13. It told us that the setting needs to be flush left, that is flush left, and it needs to be ragged right, that is already ragged right. And it says to make it 20 picas wide. Right now it's 13. We do not have to change tools, I don't think. Right up here, oh, no, we do. That's the point size. That's not the width. So if you hit the escape key, it will go to, supposed to go to the black arrow tool, which is known as selection tool. And in the width, you want to type in 20 and then hit the tab key. Oh, that looks nicer.
What is the width?
That is 20 picas wide, according to the directions in the book. And that is set right up here in the width. And you must have the black arrow tool, known as the selection tool, selected. Now, we know that Baskerville is not a pro version of the font, so if we were to try to make this number proportional old style, nothing would happen, because when we go to open type, there's brackets around that. That means there is no proportional old style in this particular font file that we loaded. All fonts are not created equally. So we can't do anything there. It's going to have to stay like that.
How did you align justify?
Okay, to justify or align different methods, up here in the control panel, it can be in the backwards P or the A, which is character. Up here in the character control panel are all sorts of alignments. You got justification, you got center, you got right. Now, conversely, if we go to the paragraph styling control panel, those identical options are here close to the left side. So this one was flush left, ragged right. And let's zoom in. What do we have here?
Oh, that's what mine was.
Hyphens. We got hyphens. Get rid of them. Select all of it and uncheck hyphenate in the paragraph control, paragraph formatting controls. I'm saving this. Now, obviously, this is not Garamond. This is Baskerville Cyrillic. So we're going to now need to change the headline on this. So here's what I do. You have a question.
What page is it on?
This is page 108.
Oh, I was on 107.
I'm double clicking on Baskerville because I don't want to type it in because I'm lazy. I'm sorry, I'm efficient. I copy, which is Command C. On a PC, that would be Control C. I copy it, and I come up here and I paste it, which is Command V on a Mac, Control V as in Victor on a PC. Now I'm going to return and I'm going to paste again because there are two Baskervilles in there. I'm going to select both of them, which is Command A, which that's a select all command. It's on the PC, it's always Control A. And this needs to be 72 over 72. 72 and 72. In addition, the second setting needs to be all caps. And we have that setting in the character formatting controls. If you have the backwards P, it's still there. It's way over to the right. So they do have some character formatting here. But I like not having to travel. Well, it's either way, we're going to the right. Or, I'm sorry, we're going to the left here. Pardon me. Uh-oh, we got too big of a thing to fit in the box.
It's huge.
Oh, Lord. See, this is why they told us to make it a 10 by 10 document.
I think it needs to be around it.
What to do, what to do, what to do. Okay, I'm going to hit Command Z a couple of times. We're going to break a rule here because it's not fitting properly. So instead of making it all caps, and this is okay, I'm okay with not all caps, we're going to make it small caps. Small caps? What's small caps? We're going to learn. Small caps is big T, little t. And what that does is it makes it all caps, but everything but the first letter, which was originally capitalized, anything that was lowercase, is as tall as the X height of that font. What? Yes. So we'll do small caps on that because aesthetically it works better and it actually fits. Okay, so we're switching it up just a little, but that's okay. And I'm saving.
That's Command S.
Command S. Now, I was going to wait till next week to talk about kerning. Kerning. but we clearly need some kerning today. Do you guys see the extremely wide letter spacing between the B and the A in Baskerville that's set all caps, small caps?
Mhm.
That is hideous. We're going to fix it. If we simply double click on that word to select it, and we are in the character formatting control, which is the A is selected, there is an area, it has a V and an A with a little slash between them. The arrow is underneath the A only. That's kerning. Now just underneath that ideograph, or ideograph, depending on what you call it, is another VA, which is tracking. Notice how the arrow is under both of the letters. Well, that's for all the letters. Oops, that's not what we want. So I'm putting that back to 0. That's tracking. All I want is to fine-tune adjust between letter pairs. So here with the V and the A with the arrow only under the A, instead of metrics, which this is putting mathematical spacing, I want optical spacing. Ah, that is not as hideous. Now we have even more control over this if we decide that between the B and the A was still too heavily spaced. We can put the cursor between just the B and the A, and we can adjust the kerning, ding, 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 click, 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 to be less. That looks even better. So even though we can do optical kerning, the computer still doesn't have eyes. It can't discern what is best. But you'll see me go into certain letter pairs and take out additional spacing to make it look a little bit more uniform, the best I can. So optical is a nice start, but I tend to go and continue kerning between letter pairs until it feels a little bit more unified. I'm going to save. That's called kerning. Kerning is the fine-tune adjustment of spaces between two different letters or between letter pairs. Whereas tracking is the space between all letters. That's not what we want, though it is lovely. Oops. I'm going to hit Command S to save. And then I hit Command 0 or Control 0 if you're on a PC. Command and the number 0 to zoom out because I was zoomed in. I know it's very exciting, mind-numbing business. Exciting. You guys excited?
Definitely. Anything that
It's useful.
it's exciting to earn more money because you know little things.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
got to know these things. Yeah. All right, the next one is going to be Bodoni, so let's go ahead and duplicate that page, shall we? And we can just simply double-click on page 2, right-click, this is in the Pages panel, and duplicate spread. There we go. So now we're going to page 3. Make sure it's double-clicked on. This is going to be Bodoni. So I'm clicking in this type. Sometimes I have to double-click. I can hit Command A to select all, or Control A if you have a PC. I'm going to delete that stuff. And I'm going to place Bodoni text. Now, I am typically somebody who likes to use keyboard shortcuts. You can go to File, Place, but there's the keyboard shortcut. Command D on a Mac, it would be Control D on a PC. Well, now that we're getting used to placing things, I would say use a keyboard shortcut. So this Place dialog box comes up. I go find Bodoni, and I can open it. It'll tell me Cambria is missing again. That's okay. It's in pink. That's all right. I'm going to select all of that text, and I'm going to make sure I'm using the correct Bodoni. Notice how I will click in here. I'll either double click or triple click, and I'm now typing in Bodoni. And it's not Bodini. That's his cousin, the magician. It's Bodoni. And make sure you are using the OpenType version. I would say Bodoni Book is plenty good for this. Oh, here's Bodoni Book. You want to see Bodoni Poster? Here, I'll show you Bodoni Poster. You will not believe. Oh, it's just crazy. Bodoni poster, it's like, who made that? It doesn't even look like the rest of the family. So I have Bodoni book. Let me make these all Bodoni book, even though that says Baskerville. So Bodoni book, and then I'm going to make the bottom one Bodoni poster. Again, this is not Baskerville, this is Bodoni. And I'm going to make this Bodoni poster. Oops, excuse me. Let me get the right one. And you're like, what in heaven's name?
That looks like
How are they so different? While I'm here, I could be really lazy because Bodoni is easy to type in. I'm going to go ahead and type in Bodoni. Not Bodini, not this. No, no, that's his cousin the magician. Bodoni. And because this will survive all caps, go ahead and click big T, big T. But look at how crazy different that is. Now, we don't need to use Bodoni book here. I'm just merely showing you that sometimes in a font, some styles don't look like they're as much part of the family as others, and this is one of the rare cases. So this really needs to be Bodoni Roman, all caps.
Oh, you don't want Bodoni book?
I don't want Bodoni book. No. I love Bodoni. It's one of my favorite typefaces of all time. It's so elegant and so beautiful. It's so austere. It is beautiful. I mean, just look at the frailty of the serifs. I mean, just look at that. There's no bracketing, okay? It's a lot of fashion uses it. And when you look at the serifs here, you know, you got all this bracketing. It's not as sharp edged. Yes, Bryce.
Which Bodoni thing do we use for that?
If it has STDs, you want it.
Do you want book or Roman?
Oh, and you're saying book or Roman? It could be either book or Roman. Roman looks like this, and book looks like this. They look pretty similar. One is just for books. They wanted to efficiently fit more type in there. So I'm okay with either book or Roman. Yes, Bryce.
I just have book italic, and bold.
Do you have STD? Oh, your Bodoni is not loaded. Your proper Bodoni is not loaded. So you would have to go to your exercise 2 files, and you would need to find the fonts for exercise 2, and you would need to open that, and then you would have to go to your font agent font management software, and you would then go to we'll just say import fonts. It'd be file, import fonts. Be nice. I wonder if I could I haven't tried this yet. I was thinking if I could click and drag those over, but we're going to find that fonts for exercise 1 or 2 folder again. So now you got to go back to your, we went there for no reason, I think. We're going to go back to our typography folder, wherever it is you downloaded those fonts. And you want to click on that Bodoni folder and hit open. Not just opening it isn't enough, because you'll need to also activate it. Now, for those of us who have it loaded, it'll say, wait a second, you have 9 duplicate fonts coming in here, but you shouldn't have that if it's not loaded. And then when you go to look at Bodoni, when you scroll around, it won't be turned on, so you'll have to activate those. Once you activate them, it should be available for the software.
Okay, so you said it would be the STD Roman?
STD Roman or book, I'd be good with either one. Yeah. Now, does Bodoni have old style numbers? Proportional old style, I don't know. No. If it's got brackets around it, it ain't happening. So nope, they don't, unfortunately. Oh, and look at this. Oh, the devil is in the details. What's that? Hyphens. Kill them.
This one's so long.
You can select all of the text, go to the backwards P, uncheck hyphenate. What is this? What's that? We talked about him a second ago. Widow. So sad. Oh, well, let's find out why. We before we do anything else, let's see how wide this column is supposed to be. I need to look to the book. Bodoni is supposed to be 18 picas wide. Right now it's 20. I'm using the selection tool, which is a black arrow. I have this text box selected, and I am going up to the control bar up here, control panel, and in the W for width, I'm typing in 18p. Hit the tab key. Oh, it killed my widow for me. Thank you. There's other ways to kill widows. I'll share them with you later. I mean, typographic widows. That sounded horrible. I'm saving. Command S. Control S if you're on a PC. I'm saving.
Do you want us to do the flush right dragon left?
Oh, what does it say?
All the way to-
Oh, looky, looky,
Yeah,
looky.
It's all fancy.
This says in the book, this needs to be flush right, meaning a line on the right, and raggedy on the left. Oh, I almost missed something. So I'm going to double click in there, select the text, and make sure that you are using the setting flush right, ragged left. It's cool, the little picture, it just says a line right.
Okay, so it's different wording.
Yeah. It's assumed we know that it's going to be ragged left. But the picture kind of gives you a little hint. Thank you, Cami, for reminding
And
me
they
of that.
wanted it
They
the line
wanted it
right
all
for the
moved to the
bot for the top.
Yeah. Right there. And I'm saving, because I always save after I do something monumental, and even something not so monumental. Anytime I do anything, I save, it seems like. Because I've had to redo some serious documents over and over again. I don't like doing that.
What did I just do?
Was the font with certified?
Oh, my gosh, you guys are so good at this.
Hmm.
The font is not supposed to be what the last one was, which was something else. The font is 12/16. Oh, so all right, by default it's 12, but the leading is not set at 16. There we go. That looks more beautiful. But Bodoni looks nicer with more leading.
I feel like an idiot because I can't see on the sheet where it says this stuff.
On page 108, it's right here. It says justified 11/15 Garamond by 13 picas. The next one says flush left, ragged right, 11/13 Baskerville by 20. This is found on page 108.
Oh, okay.
About the middle of all that text on page 108. If you're wanting to know where all this is coming from. Thank you, Eagle Eyes. Both of you. Okay, the next one, everything right on here, right? Let's see. The next one is going to be Century Expanded, but we know we're just going to call it Century because the word expanded is too long in a headline. Let's duplicate our third layout by right-clicking and going duplicate. If you want to, you can type in Century up here. Oh, this is the danger of us typing headlines instead of copying and pasting stuff. Subjury. Make sure you spell things correctly. I'm also going to do the same here. Oh, it automatically did caps because Big T is selected. Do not hold down Shift or caps lock. Bad, bad, bad. You'll learn why so bad later. Just don't do it now. Okay, that is 72/72. It is not Century yet. It's still Bodoni. So make sure you select that text and make it Century Expanded. Now, I could sit there and shop for it like this, or I could type it in. Now, if you don't have it, you have to load it. Century Expanded Roman. I like Bodoni better. I love Bodoni. It is sexy. I like Bodoni a lot. But not Bodoni poster. Can't stand it. Now, I'm going to select all this text that was Baskerville's, or no, not Baskerville, Bodoni's information. I'm going to delete it. Now, this needs to be Century's text. So Command D, or on a PC, Control D. Command D goes and gets stuff. It remembers where you were the last time. I'm going to go to Century Expanded, and I'm going to grab that text. And of course, it tells me there's a font missing. That's Microsoft Word for you.
This thing.
Microsoft Word, a default font. So I'm going to select all that text. Again, that's Command A. On a PC, it'd be Control A. And I need to make this century. And it will remember if I scroll to the top that I was using century recently. Of course we kill our hyphens. And it is supposed to be 10 over 16. So I'm going, this is paragraph formatting controls. That's where our hyphenation is. I'm going to go to our character formatting controls. I'm setting the point size at 10 and the leading at 16 because that's what the book says. 10 over 16. And it says to make it centered. Center align. Now this is either on the character formatting controls or the paragraph formatting controls. While I'm here, I'm going to use this one. It says align center. And it needs to be in a box that is 24 picas wide. And currently, let me hit the escape key to get out of the type tool. Currently, this is 18 picas wide. So I need to go into the width field, and I need to type in 24. Oops, I said 224 there. Let's do 24 and hit the tab key.
No. Center.
Yeah, that's a center aligned alignment.
I'm just a little bit slow, I guess.
I'm slow too. Welcome to the club.
So now it looks like it's home.
I'm saving. Okay. I always, on something this mundane and basic, I always double check my work because it seems like the more basic something is, the more mistakes we make because we're thinking, oh, this is just so basic, and we take it for granted. So we're going to double check our work. I'm going to start with page 1. Is this Garamond, and is it got the STD? Or no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I didn't give you the STD, Garamond. Here's why. It doesn't have the non-lining numbers, the old style proportional. So in this case, when I give you Garamond, it does not have the STD. The one that we have that has STD does not have proportional old style. And I wanted to share with you the proportional old style. So this is Garamond. It is Adobe Garamond Pro. It is regular. It is 72 over 72. That is correct. This is also Garamond Pro, Adobe Garamond Pro. It is 11 over 15. I'm looking in the book. It says 11 over 15. It is telling me in the book it is justified. I did justify it. And it is also telling me, after I hit the escape key, it's telling me that it should be 13 picas wide. I'm looking up here. Yes, it is. I'm double checking my work. All right, I'm going to page 2. Is this all Baskerville? Baskerville, this one will be an open type STD font. It is. I'm just using Baskerville upright. It is 72 over 72. And because Baskerville is such a long name, we decided instead of using all caps, we made an executive decision to do small caps, which is the big T with a little t. Yes.
Do we have that, what is it, that 72 space between all of these?
They should be.
Okay.
Yes, because we duplicated the layout every time, so it should be accurate. The question was, is there 72 points of space between the baseline of the headline and the baseline of the first line of type? Absolutely. All right, the body copy. I'm double checking my work again on Baskerville. Make sure the body copy isn't about Garamond. It is the Baskerville body copy, and inside of my book it says that is supposed to be 11 over 13. I am looking in my character control panel. Yes, I did that correctly. It is supposed to be 20 picas wide. Let me hit the escape tool to get the black arrow tool, known as the selection tool. Is it 20 picas wide? It most certainly is. Double checking my work. Baskerville body copy.
Oh, the body is 11. Wait.
It's 11 over 13, and it's 20 picas wide on the box. Uh-huh. Oh, and it's flush left, ragged right, which is also says in the book. Flush left, yep. Raggedy right, yep. All right, next, double checking my work. Bodoni, select it all. Is it 72 over 72? Most certainly. Is it Bodoni STD? Yes. Is it either book or Roman? Certainly. I don't care which one. You choose. The type underneath. Is it about Bodoni? Yes. Is it 12/16 like the book says? Should be. Is it flush right, raggedy left? I see raggedy on the left. Raggedy, raggedy. I see it nice and flush on the right. It certainly is. And is this 18 picas wide? Well, let's hit the escape key and find out. Escape. There it says 18p. I'm good. Is there hyphens? No. Yay. We're moving on to the fourth one. Double checking our work again. Is this century expanded in here, or century expanded the font? We're just calling it century. Is that century? Yes. Is it 72/72? Yes. Is it Roman? Yes. Oh, also we know that that's supposed to be all caps. Is the body copy actually about century? Is it still about Garamond or some other font? No, but it's about century. Yay. Is it center aligned? It most certainly is. That means it's raggedy on both sides perfectly, with perfect spacing. Same amount of space on the left and the right. Is it 10 points of type over 16 points of leading, as the book states us to do it? Yes, it is. 10/16. Yours looks different. Is it century expanded? Is it the font?
It's Roman century 10/16, and I have it aligned center.
Okay. Is this 24 picas wide on this box?
This, do I find that out? 24 width. 24.
Don't. If you have all that correct, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any hyphens? No. Save it. All right.
That's what it was. I didn't turn off my hyphens.
Oh, son of a
now it
gun.
looks like that.
She forgot to turn off her hyphens. Those darn hyphens.
Now it's. I was like, there's gotta be something.
All right. Guess what? I'm ready to turn this in, but I can print it, or I can prepare it to turn it in digitally. Either way. Yes, Josh. Don't worry about it. That's part 2 of this assignment.
Yay.
To be continued on Tuesday, because Helvetica, we're going to get ultra sexy with that one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
where are my nice clothes?
Ultra sexy. Because, you know, Helvetica, it's just so sexy. We're going to go and do Helvetica next Tuesday, because we're going to get a lot more on the design end of it and less on this let's all be robots and all do the same thing. We're going to do our own thing to a point. But between now and Tuesday, I want you to do a little bit of research on Helvetica, its history, where it's used. There is a movie on Helvetica. The only typeface on this planet that has a movie. You could maybe find the movie and watch it if you really wanted to do some serious research on it. And the reason why I would like you to do research on Helvetica is because if we're going to design for it, we need to understand it. Typography and design exist solely to honor content. We have to understand the content, the meaning. What is Helvetica? We have to understand that before we can design for it. Okay? So I really want you guys to have some, I'm not going to require you to turn any research, usually I do, but I want you to kind of go out there and explore how ubiquitous Helvetica is and its history, okay? All right, back to our boring robotic stuff here. We're ready to turn this is part 1 of our project. We're ready to turn this in. We would want to print it, so I'm going to walk through that process. There are some specific things we need to do here. Very specific that were different than our first typographic exercise number 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and print first. I'm going to file and print, and I'm going to choose either 341 laser 1 or 2. I'm going to use laser 2 because most people go to laser 1, and it just needs equal time. And we are going to print all of the pages, so we don't need to change anything here. It's already selected all the pages. There's nothing else we need to change on this general dialog box here. See, here's the word general, it's selected. We'll move to setup, however, and there's some things that we need to change here. We're going to print to letter because we made it smaller, an 8x8, so we wouldn't have to spend as much money. And in the page position, muy importante, instead of upper left, go to centered. Do not scale to fit. When you go to FedEx, Kinko's, Staples, all that stuff, they have scale to fit selected automatically, and they screw your stuff up every time. So when you take something to FedEx, Kinko's, any UPS store that does printing, Staples, tell them when you drop your stuff off, do not scale to fit the page. Turn it off. Please. This has to be 100% my size. Okay, we're going to move on to the next thing, which is marks and bleeds. We're going to turn on crop marks only. Do not turn on all printers marks. It will confuse you. Just crop marks. This lets us know where to cut it out. Now, some of the crop marks might get a little cut off because these printers don't print right to the edge, but I'll see if I can override that. The rest of this stuff, output, graphics, color management, all that stuff, well, we do want to go to output because of why? Color. You want to get charged for color, do you? No. Go to composite gray and turn text to black. Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, you do.
Or else they're all going to be.
Thank you. Who asked that? Jack? Thank you. I'll go ahead and complete this setup, and then we'll put our names on it, okay? Graphics we don't need to worry about. Color management we don't have to worry about the last items here, the graphics, none of that, okay? We are going to go to page setup. Make sure that when you go to page setup, it has the right printer and the right size of paper. This is what we set in the other window. We want to make sure that those two things jive. They match. I'm going to hit OK. Just checking on that. I'm going to go to the printer area. Yes. Oh, I'm just double checking. I didn't change anything on that. Usually anymore, when you go to page setup, those do match. Oh, excuse me, that was page setup. I just, in some instances, it can get weird, so I always double check. I'm going to go to the printer button here in the lower left, second one over. I'm going to hit OK on this warning. Turn off two-sided. And I'm going to go to show details. I don't think I need to change a whole lot of anything here. I don't really think so. I'm going to look and see if there's a way I can have it print a little closer to the edge. Just give me a second. This is something you got to dig for. Offset. May not be able to find it here. I found one in my office, but that's a PC. Not finding it yet. Special pages, paper output. Yeah, I don't think it's going to give us any way to print to the edge. Darn it. Okay. All right, they have that feature turned off. Okay, so on Xerox features, we don't have to worry about anything. I'll go one more place. Nope. Nope. Okay, there is no way for us to tell it to go print an edge to edge. I wish there were. Okay, so I'm clicking hide the details. Make sure two-sided printing is still selected, or unchecked rather. And I'm going to hit print. Now, I can hit print, and then I can tell it don't accept the charges, okay? So say no when the next window comes up. And then save the document. Make sure you click on it first and then save it. It will remember your print settings. But you didn't pay for anything because you told it no. That way we don't have to go in and set up the same thing that we just did. Now, you guys want to see something cool? You want to only type your name once instead of 4 times? Okay. There's a thing called a master page. It says A master. Double click on that page. It'll just be a blank page. Now, in the upper right-hand corner region, draw a text box. I don't care what font this is. You can choose any old font you want as long as it's readable. Type in your name. I don't care what size it is. Just don't make it huge. And a master page is a page that if you have an element that falls on every page, instead of copying and pasting it to every page, when I double click on page 1, guess what? Oh my God, my name's there. I didn't do that. Look at page 2. Oh, my name is there. Page 3, it's there. Page 4, it's there. Oh my gosh, that's called working smarter, not harder. What other elements on pages might be repeat elements? Page numbers. It's perfect for page numbers. Chapter headers, that kind of stuff.
So how do you say okay for this?
To say okay or to get it to stick, just double click on page 1 and you'll see it's applied. Or, yeah. Oh, and I'm going to save that. Now, when I go back to the print dialog box, in theory, hopefully in practice as well, when I go to File Print, which is Command P on a PC, on a PCB, Control P, but I go to Command P, I'm going to, oh look, it's centered, it has crop marks. Great day. I'm seeing it, that preview right there is right. I'm going to go back to printer and double check, make sure, oh, two-sided, you boogerhead. It does not remember that. Ugh. So if you have this big detail thing going, hit hide details, look, two sides turned on. So uncheck two-sided again, hit print, and then hit print again. And then you can go ahead and tell it okay on these charges, but make sure it says black and white. If it doesn't, cancel. Uh-oh, mine says your print job has 0 black and white pages and 4 color. Oh, no, I'm not accepting that. It changes those configurations too. It didn't remember. Oh, you booger. So I go to Output, and I'm going to pull up the gray, and text is black again. I'm still going to go to Printer again, make sure it didn't turn on two-sided. Ooh, it's such a jerk. It doesn't remember. Every time we have to do this. Every time. Uncheck two-sided printing. Print it, hit print again, and watch the, always read this, guys, always. Don't just hit OK and run down to the printer. Always read it when it comes up. Is it charging you? Color again?
I think what's happening is, what I noticed when you click OK before you go to the main print layout, with the color, it switches automatically.
Okay, so I'm going to go to printer first, hit OK, turn off two-sided printing, hit the little print button, then go to Output, go to gray and text as black, and see if it does it now. It's got to be in the right order. It's so picky. I didn't know that. Let's see what it says. 4 colors still? This is dumb. I wish it were acting properly. Now I'm going to actually go to printer too, and I'm going to see if it's there. I'm going to go to undo two-sided, show details, Xerox features, oh, color options, yep. I'm going to go to black and white. We did this last week. Output composite gray text, but I think those both have to be checked. Yuck. Go to printer again, make sure it doesn't have double-sided turned on. Okay, print, and let's see. It's very aggravating, folks. 4 colors still. Oh my gosh, this is just not my day. How did we get them to print black and white last week, but I can't get them to do it this
By doing
week?
a lot of stuff.
Okay, so let's tinker around with it some more. No, InDesign, you bad thing. I wonder if I go to laser 1 if it'll give me such problems. Setup, letter, marks and bleeds, right, output, composite CMYK, no, we want gray, text is black, printer, yeah, two-sided off, show details, Xerox color, Xerox features, color options, Lord have mercy, print, save as preset. Print preset 1. There we go. Print it. I don't know what in the world is going on the face of this planet, but it's still telling me 4 color. So I'm just going to print it. I'm giving up. I'm not usually that way. I'll dig around and see why in the world this is. It could even be the fact that I'm going to printer number 2 instead of printer number 1. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. You have to go to 3 different things.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. You're right. Deposit gray.
I think I may
Mhm.
figure it
It wasn't printing anything.
out. I'm gonna go the laser one. And then I'm gonna go. Okay. And then two-sided. Show details. Layout. Xerox features.
Guys, we got to be smarter than this computer.
Color options to black and white.
Let's do it again. Okay. Well, we can always. This isn't due till later anyway, so we can always figure this out. If you're like, I'm not spending my hard little freebie $5 on this hard-earned stuff. We can wait to print this, and I can try to do some more troubleshooting because this, even though we're done today, it's not due till next week. It's due at the same time as our part 2, so we have a little time to work that out. That is really aggravating, but I'll figure it out. I just got to take some time. All right, so that concludes part 1 with the exception of trying to figure out what in the world's going on with printing and why it's color. With the exception of packaging, we would want to do that too. Sorry. We would go to File and Package because we want to make sure when we turn this in it's proper. And we did this on our last project. So we're going to package that. We hit Save because it tells us to. We hit Continue. And we're going to take this to the right place, which would be in our typography folder, our exercise 2. And then I'm going to package this. And it will pull all together the document, the IDML file, everything it needs. And we'll turn it in later. We don't have to turn it in today because you're going to turn this in with the Helvetica one. So don't turn this in today. But do keep it. Keep it handy. Well, this is stuck up here now. Huh. That's weird. Okay.
It said that it was printing. I said okay. It said it was charging me, but it's not there.
Yeah, that is that.
Uh,
I had to send it to a different person.
yeah, that's not good either because it charges you.
Is it because the color matching is in color sync instead of in printer?
I don't know.
It's color sync means it's going to sync the color options, or is the printer going to determine how it's printed?
I usually do printer determine. Oh, good, my InDesign quit, which is giving me perfect time to stop this recording. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I was recording that, but stop recording.